What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven. This is Steven in Stereo, and in today's video, we're diving into the Libertines music again. We've checked them out before. We checked out the song Run, 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 and I remember really enjoying that. Love that punk vibe. And in today's video, we're checking out the song Time for Heroes. So I'm super excited to check this out. Want to give a huge shout out to Ellie over on Patreon for actually requesting this. Thank you so much for your very long-term support. It has meant so much to me. So I'm super excited to dive into this. So we're going to turn this thing up and dive into Time for Heroes.
Did you see the stylish kids in the riot? Shoveled up like monks, set the night on fire, wombles bleed, truncheons and shields. You know I cherish you, my love. But the rumors spread nasty disease around town.
Love that guitar.
Around the houses with your trousers down, a head rush. And in the bush, you know I cherish you, my love. Tell me what can you want? You've got it all. I've seen it.
Love his voice. There's such a delivery to it. It's like it's got like this cool vibe to it. I feel like I picture somebody like in the dark in the back, like, but like you like walk into the back of this place and they're kind of chilling there and like the lights are dim or whatever, but like you like strike up a conversation with this person and they end up being the most interesting person in the world. That's exactly what this person's vocals gives to me right away. So diving right back into that.
What can you want? You've got it all. I've seen is obscene. Time will strip it away. A year and a day. I'll build bones. That's what I really know is eating. It's chewing me up. It's not right for young lungs to be coughing up blood, and it's all in my hands, and it's all up the walls. All the stale chips are up, and the whole
yes.
down. There's all these ignorant faces that bring this town down.
What year is this release? What? I was thinking like this was like within the last like 10 years. Nope, this was 17 years ago. This was released. It's actually older than that. This was released in 2002 originally. Fuck yeah. Actually, it's interesting to think about that, at least from being American. At 2002, this was not the sound that was like popular here in the United States at all. We had this wave of like alternative punk happening, this alternative punk, but in a very big space. We had Good Charlotte, we had Avril Lavigne, we had all like, you know, Blink-182. We just had all these bands that were like they were making their presence known at that time. It's cool to hear this like more on the punk side. And this has like a ton, this has 6.6 million views. That's crazy.
Faces that bring this town down in the side and sunken with pride. But I pass myself down on my knees. Yes, I pass myself down on my knees.
Woo!
Now tell me what can you want? You've got it all. All the seed is obscene. Time will strip it away. A year and a day. And Bill Bones knows what I mean. Knows fewer more.
Fuck yeah.
Incites the rant of an Englishman in a baseball cap and will die in the class.
I've definitely heard this instrumental. Where have I heard this? I don't know if I've heard this instrumental or if this song has been used in a commercial before. Like, it definitely feels super familiar in that guitar rhythm. You guys gotta let me know in the comments.
Distress incites the rant of an Englishman in a baseball cap and will die in the class we were born. Well, that's a class of our own, my love. A class of our own, my love.
The fucking shows look so sick. There's nothing better than a venue that small. Also, can I just say that the Libertines, at least from what I can see, they have a very Ramones aesthetic. I mean, like other influences, obviously, but especially this hair right here, which like I don't remember if the Ramones. I don't recall. I haven't watched like a Ramones documentary in since I was in like middle school. So I don't recall where they were pulling their aesthetic from. I'm sure one of you guys can let me know, but it is really cool to see that, especially knowing that, you know, obviously like the Ramones had done their thing at that point. Yeah, I love that aesthetic. It's like giving me, for the American version, it's giving me like CBGB vibes. This music video is so fucking chaotic too. Just behind the scenes tour footage the whole time. Fuck yeah. So I'm totally digging this like heavy, you know, British punk feel. I love the delivery of the vocals in this. I feel like, to me, when you have this spoken word type thing, again, dimly lit room, little mysterious, maybe everyone's a little like, you know, oh, what about that guy? Like, oh, nobody's talking to him. But then you go and it turns out he's got like a plethora of knowledge and world that he wants to talk about. He's like the nicest person. And it seems like that's what I'm getting from this dude upon listening to this. And a lot of it comes down to the delivery in the vocal. I love that he's able to do this thing where it's like he's singing with the beat, but then like it's like he wants to add more words into it or like change the cadence of the way he's doing it. And when that happens, the instrumental will do this like shift or like the swing kind of thing. It sounds so fucking cool because it makes it kind of have this jumbled kind of feel, which gives it this like gritty feel. I also really love, again, speaking of gritty, just how gritty the guitars are in this. So sick. To me, just hearing that heavy distortion, like heavily distorted, but like ringing out type sound is really fucking cool. Also, not that I know a ton about 2002 music, but as somebody who was listening to a lot of music at that time, and just knowing where we were at with in terms of like popularity for like punk and alternative music in the mainstream space, it was a big year for that, or like a big era for that. I'm adding this to that kind of conversation because it has 6.6 million views 17 years after it was uploaded and 22 years after it was released or something like that. So obviously this was a huge song at some point. And it's interesting too, because when you see like in the spaces of like where music is at in the world, you know, you've got, you know, the alternative bands that were coming up here that also had influence of the Ramones and things like that, but they went with almost like a different wave of it. Almost had a little bit more of like a pop rock feel to it. Had a much more emphasis on pop. Whereas like with the Libertines here, obviously like a punk band, super fucking cool. And like, they've got this, like they went with the emphasis on like that punk sound, but because of it, it went just in that route of like the Clash and bands like that, where just, it sounds so, it's so catchy. It's got this really beautiful melody to it. And all while within still having that rebellious punk rock feeling. And I think that that's why this song is so catchy on the first listen. I really appreciate that. Also, again, so many views for this style, which is really cool. I think of bands like Rancid, which ended up being like super famous, that kind of has a similar sound to this. Obviously, like they're from the United States, but like, I think their commercial success, while it was big, I don't know that it was that big. I don't know that it was like 6.6 million streams on it. I mean, I'm sure it was. And Out Come the Wolves was like a crazy successful. It doesn't matter. This is not about Rancid. Point being, I just really appreciate that sound from them. I really appreciate that kind of style. And it's something that I was really into growing up and obviously still to this day. As far as the lyrics go, I do feel like I would need to listen to it a couple more times to really understand it. But what I am picking up on right away, at least in one section, I heard this thing talking about like, he said something along the lines of, you know, I might have been born into this class, but this class is full of everything that I love. This is kind of like this is all of who I am. And I think that we have to look at that in a society. Oftentimes we generationally can become stuck in whatever class we are in. And people can look at that as a bad thing, good thing or a bad thing. But oftentimes there can be this discomfort of not wanting to leave that because it is all the things, you know, even if maybe you don't have a lot of money or maybe you live in a harder side of town or whatever, sometimes that is home, no matter what everyone's definition of home is. And so because of that, that's all the things you love. It's all the things you want to be like be around. It's the places you remember. It's all your nostalgia. It's all those things, and you wouldn't want to necessarily give it up. So it's, and again, I have to listen to this again, but it almost feels like just a positive. I mean, maybe I'm reaching because I definitely feel like I need to listen to the lyrics again. But I just feel like just based on that section, that it's almost like a way to kind of like grab yourself in your own reality and be like maybe thankful for where you're at that time, even though like, you know, things could be better. Things could also be a hell of a lot worse too. So you have to kind of find a middle ground. I'm going to listen to it some more so that I can fucking understand it. But of course, like from a sonic perspective, yes, as a fan of this style of music, it's fucking. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Huge shout out to Ellie. I was stoked to see this because you know what I like in music and super cool to see it. So I love y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.